Like, okay. Yeah. Can she start,
Yeah,
Manisalvi?
please. Yeah, please.
Yeah, so go on, go on.
Start where you are. There is a sign over the design studio at Stanford that says you are here. Our students love that sign. You might say it is somewhat clarifying. It doesn't matter where you come from, where you think you are going, what job or career you have had or think you should have. You are not too late and you are not too early. Design thinking can help you build your way forward from wherever you are, regardless of the life design problem you are facing. But before you can figure out which direction to head in, you need to know where you are and what design problems you are trying to solve. As we have shown, designers love problems, and when you think like a designer, you approach problems with an entirely different mindset. Designers get juiced by what they call wicked problems. They are called wicked not because they are evil or fundamentally bad, but because they are resistant to resolution. Let's face it, you are not reading this book because you have all the answers, are in your dream job, and have a life imbued with more meaning and purpose than you can imagine. Somewhere in some area of your life, you are stuck. You have a wicked problem, and that is a wonderful and exciting place to start. Problem finding plus problem solving is equal to well designed life. In design thinking, we put as much emphasis on problem finding as we do on problem solving. After all, what is the point of working on the wrong problem? We emphasize this because it's actually not always so easy to understand what our problems are. Sometimes we think we need a new job or a new boss, but often we don't really know what is working and what is not in our lives. Often we approach our problems as if they are an addition or subtraction problem. We either want to get something add or get rid of something subtract. We want to get a better job, get more money, get more success, get more balance, get rid of 10 pounds, get rid of our unhappiness, get rid of our pain. Or we might just have a vague sense of discontent or a feeling that we want something different or something more. Usually, we define our problem by what is missing, but not always. And the bottom line is this: you have got problems. Your friends have problems. We have all got problems. Sometimes those problems relate to our job, sometimes to family or health or love or money or any combination of these things. Sometimes our problems can feel so overwhelming that we don't even try to solve them. We just live with them like an irritating roommate we constantly complain about but never get around to evicting. Our problems become our story, and we can all get stuck in our stories. Deciding which problems to work on may be one of the most important decisions you make because people can lose years or a lifetime working on the wrong problem. They've had a problem once. Okay, he has had a lot of problems and would say that this whole book comes out of his astonishing inaptitude. But this particular problem kept him stuck for years. Dave started college at Stanford as a biology major, but he soon realized not only that he hated biology, but also that he was failing miserably. He had graduated from high school believing that it was his destiny to be a field research marine biologist. There were two people responsible for this particular version of Dave's destiny: Jacques Cousteau and Mrs. Strauss. Jacques Cousteau was his childhood hero. Dave watched every episode of the undersea world of Jacques Cousteau and secretly imagined he had been the one to invent the aqua lung instead of Jacques. Dave also really liked seals. He ended up believing that the coolest thing in the world would be to get paid to play with seals. Dave was also curious about whether seals had sex in the water or on the land. Only with the birth of Google many years later did he learn that most species mate on land. His second misguided reason for becoming a marine biologist had to do with Mrs. Strauss, his high school biology teacher. Dave did pretty well in all his high school subjects, but he liked biology the best. Why? Because he liked Mrs. Strauss the best. She made biology interesting. She was a great teacher, and Dave misperceived that her good teaching correlated to his stronger interest. If his PE teacher had taught as well as Mrs. Strauss, Dave might have believed that it was his destiny to hang a whistle around his neck and be an advocate for mandatory dodgeball in the workplace. So the unholy union of Jacques Cousteau and Mrs. Strauss caused Dave to work on the wrong caused Dave to work on the wrong problem for over 2 years. The problem he thought he was solving was how to become a marine biologist, or more specifically, how to inherit the calypso from Cousteau when he died. Dave started college with the firm belief that his future was in marine biology. Since Stanford didn't offer a major in marine biology, he decided to major in biology. He hated it. At that time, biology classes consisted mostly of biochemistry and molecular biology. The pre-meds were killing it in class. Dave was not. Academically, he was getting crushed, as were his dreams of someday getting paid to frolic with the seals while speaking in a French accent. He then decided that in order to fix his problem of hating biology and doing horribly in his classes, all he needed to do was some real science. Research in a biolab would get him a step closer to researching the mating habits of seals. He crashed his way into doing bench research on RNA, which meant he basically cleaned test tubes. It was crushingly boring, and he was even more miserable. Quarter after quarter, his bio teaching assistants and lab teaching assistants kept asking him why he was a biology major. They would begin to tell them about Mrs. Strauss and Jacques Cousteau and the seals, but they would interrupt and say, "You are no good at bio. You don't like it. You are grumpy and nasty all the time. You should quit. You should drop this major. The only thing you are good at is arguing. Maybe you should be a lawyer." Despite the tsunami of negative feedback, Dave persisted because he had this set idea in his mind of his destiny, and he kept working away at the problem of getting his grades up in biology. He was so focused on the what he had in mind problem that he never looked at the real problem. He should not be majoring in biology, and his idea of his destiny had been misguided from the beginning. It has been our experience in office hour after office hour that people waste a lot of time working on the wrong problem. If they are lucky, they will fail miserably quickly and get forced by circumstance into working on better problems. If they are unlucky and smart, they will succeed. We call it the success disaster, and wake up 10 years later wondering how the hell they got to what wherever they are and why they are so unhappy. Dave's failure as a marine biologist was so profound that he ultimately had to admit defeat and change his major. It took him 2.5 years to address a problem that was clear to everyone else after about 2 weeks. He eventually transferred to mechanical engineering, where he was quite successful and happy. Someday, however, he still hopes to frolic with seals. Yes, Anjali, you want to read?
Yes, Suman. Yeah. A beginner's mind. If Dave had known to think like a designer fresh out of high school, he would have approached the problem of his college major with a beginner's mind. Instead of assuming he knew all the answers before he asked the questions, he would have been curious. He would have wanted to know exactly what a marine biologist does, and he would actually have asked the marine biologists. He would have gone to the Hopkins Marine Station of Stanford, only about an hour and a half's drive from campus, and asked how you go from a major in biochemistry to working in marine biology. He would have tried stuff. For instance, he could have spent some time on the open sea and discovered whether it was as glamorous as it looked on television. He could have volunteered on a research vessel, maybe even spent some time around some real life seals. Instead, he began college with his mind and his major made up and ended up learning the hard way that maybe his first idea wasn't his best. Isn't that true for all of us? How often do we fall in love with our first idea and then refuse to let it go, no matter how badly it turns out? More important, do we really think it is a good idea to let our earnest but misguided 17-year-old self determine where we work for the rest of our lives? And what about now? How often do we go with our first idea and think we know answers to questions we have never really investigated? How often do we check in with ourselves to see if we are really working on the right problem? I need a better job is not the solution to the problem of I'm not that happy working and I would rather be home with my kids. Beware of working on a really good problem that's not actually the right problem, not actually your problem. Please scroll. You don't solve a marriage problem at the office or a work problem with a new diet. It seems obvious, but like Dave, we can lose a lot of time working on the wrong problem. We also tend to get mired in what we call gravity problems. I have got this big problem and I don't know what to do about it. Oh, wow, Jane, what's the problem? It's gravity. Gravity? Yeah, it's making me crazy. I'm feeling heavier and heavier. I can't get my bike up hills easily. It never leaves me. I don't know what to do about it. Can you help me? This example may sound silly, but we hear versions of this sort of gravity problem all the time. Poets just don't make enough money in our culture. They are not respected enough. What do I do about it? The company I work for has been family owned for 5 generations. There is no way that, as an outsider, I'm ever going to be an executive. What do I do about it? I have been out of work for 5 years. It's going to be much harder for me to get a job, and that's not fair. What do I do about it? I want to go back to school and become a doctor, but it will take me at least 10 years, and I don't want to invest that much time at this stage of my life. What do I do about it? These are all gravity problems, meaning they are not real problems. Why? Because in life design, if it's not actionable, it's not a problem. Let's repeat that. If it's not actionable, it's not a problem. It's a situation, a circumstance, a fact of life. It may be a drag, so to speak, but like gravity, it's not a problem that can be solved. Here is a little tidbit that is going to save you a lot of time, months, years, decades, even. It has to do with reality. People fight reality. They fight it tooth and nail with everything they have got. And anytime you are arguing or fighting with reality, reality will win. You can't outsmart it. You can't trick it. You can't bend it to your will. Not now, not ever. A public service announcement about gravity and public service. You have heard the expression, you can't fight City Hall. That's an old idiom about gravity problems. Everybody knows you can't fight City Hall. Hey, you retort, you can so fight City Hall. Martin Luther King fought City Hall. My friend Phil fought City Hall. They need more City Hall fighters, not fewer. Are you telling us to give up on the hard problems? You raise an important question, so it's important to make clear exactly how to address what we are calling gravity problems. Remember that the key thing we are after here is to free you from getting stuck on something that's not actionable. When you get stuck in a gravity problem, you are stuck permanently because there's nothing you can do, and designers are first and foremost doers. We recognize that there are two variations of gravity problems: totally inactionable ones, such as gravity itself, and functionally unactionable ones, such as the average income of a full time poet. Some of you are trying to decide if the thing you are stuck on is a gravity problem that isn't actionable, or just a really, really hard problem that will require effort and sacrifice and runs a high risk of failure, but is worth trying. Let's address this difficult issue by looking at each of the sample gravity problems we listed above. Gravity biking. You can't change gravity. You have to relocate the Earth's orbit to pull that off, and that's a pretty crazy goal. Skip it. Just accept it. When you accept it, you are free to work around that situation and find something that is actionable. That cyclist could invest in a lighter bicycle. She could try losing some weight. She could learn the latest techniques for climbing more effectively. Turns out pedaling faster in really small gears is easier and takes more stamina instead of more power. Stamina is easier to build up. Poet income. To change the median income of poets, you would somehow have to alter the market for poetry and get people to buy more poetry or pay more for it. Well, you could try for that. You could write letters to the editor in praise of poetry. You could knock on doors to get people out of the poetry night at your local coffee house. This one is a long shot, even though you can work on this problem in a way that wasn't possible with gravity. We would recommend that you accept it as an inactionable situation. If you do that, then your attention is free to start designing other solutions to other problems. 5-year unemployed job seeker. The statistics are unmistakable on this one. If you have been unemployed a long time, you have a harder task to get re employed. Research using identical resumes with no difference, but the duration of unemployment made clear that most employers avoid the long-term employed, apparently groundlessly concluding that whoever else didn't hire you over that time must have had a good reason. That's a gravity problem. You can't change employers' perceptions. Instead of changing how they think, how about working on changing how you appear to them? You can take volunteer roles and list significant professional results without having to get into how little you were paid until much later in the conversation. You can identify roles in industries where there is less ageism. Dave is so grateful that he got into teaching later in life. Now his age is seen as a source of wisdom, and he is not still trying to pass himself off as a marketing expert to clients half his age who know he is no digital native and doesn't actually get it anymore. Even in the face of daunting realities, you always have some freedom you can exercise. Find it and take action there instead of against gravity. The family firm outsider. So, for the last 132 years, no one whose last name wasn't Fiddler's has held an executive role in the company. But you think the time has finally come and you are going to be one to break through. If you just do a great job and bide your time, and in 3 to 5 years, that VP title will be yours. Okay, you can invest those 3 to 5 years, but please do so realizing that there is no evidence whatever that your goal will be attained. It's your call, but you might be better off buying a lottery ticket. You have other options. You can go down the road to a firm that's not family run, but you love the town and the kids are happy in school where you are. Okay, then embrace the good things that come from just accepting it. Reframe the company's family legacy as being your source of job security with a decent income in a dependable firm, knowing you won't have to take an increased responsibilities in adjusting to endless promotions. You will be able to learn the job so well you can do it in 35 hours a week, resulting in great work life balance. and time to write more poetry. Or maybe you look for greater value instead of greater authority. You find a new function or offering that can grow the company or increase profits and become the expert, the go-to person for running that part of the business. You will always be a manager and never a VP. But as the person responsible for so much value, you could become the highest paid manager in the place. Who needs a title if you are getting paid what you want? Mansi, you want to read from here? Or I'll just
No,
finish
no,
the
you
sit
can
now.
continue for a while. Yeah.
I'll finish the sit now. 10 years to the MD. Again, this is a real gravity problem. Unless you would like to start your life design project by reforming medical school education, which, by the way, is pretty tough to do if you don't already have an MD, no, we wouldn't sign up for that one either. What you can do is change your thinking and remember that in only your second year of med school, you get to start treating patients and doing medicine. Most of the doctoring done in hospitals is done by the residents, the trainees who have finished 4 years of medical school and gotten their MDs and are now working the wards and apprenticing. If you can't change your life because of gravity, you can just change your thinking. Or you can decide to take a different route by a physician's assistant and do a lot of what doctors do, but at a fraction of the training time and cost. Or enter the wellness field, running prevention programs for a progressive insurance company and thereby making a dent on health without being on the clinical care side of things. The key is not to get stuck on something that you have effectively no chance of succeeding at. We are all for aggressive and world changing goals. Please do fight City Hall, oppose injustice, work for women's rights, pursue food justice, end homelessness, combat global warming, but do it smart. If you become open minded enough to accept reality, you will be free to reframe an actionable problem and design a way to participate in the world on things that matter to you and might even work. That's all we are here after here. We want to give you the best shot possible at living the life you want, enjoying the living of it, and maybe even making a difference while you are at it. We are going to help you create the best designed life available to you in reality, not in some fictional world with less gravity and rich poets. The only response to the gravity problem is acceptance. And this is where all good designers begin. This is the you are here or accept phase of design thinking. Acceptance. That's where you start, where you are, not where you wish you were, not where you hope you are, not where you think you should be, but right where you are. Yes, anybody else wants to read? Mansi, you want to take up?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
The life design assessment. In order to start where we are, we need to break life down into some discrete areas: health, work, play, and love. As we have said, we'll be focusing mostly on work, but you won't be able to understand how to design your work until you understand how it fits into the rest of your life. So, in order to start where we are, we have to know where we are. Acha, sorry. Acha, it's the same statement over. So, in order to start where we are, we have to know where we are. We do this by taking stock of our situation, by taking our own inventory and making an assessment. It's a way to get an articulated characterization of where we are and answer the age old question: how's it going? But first, let's define the areas that will ground your answer. Health. From the earlier days of civilization, thoughtful people have recognized that it pays to be healthy. And by healthy, we mean being well in mind, body, and spirit, emotional health, physical health, and mental health. The relative importance of each of these aspects of health is up to you. How you measure your own health in these areas is your call. But once you have figured out how you define health, you need to pay attention to it. How healthy you are will factor significantly into how you access the quality of your life when answering that how's it going question. Work. By work, we mean your participation in the great ongoing human adventure on the planet. You may or may not be getting paid for it, but this is the stuff you do. Assuming you're not financially independent, you usually are getting paid for at least a portion of your work. Don't for a minute reduce work only to that which you get paid for. Most people have more than one form of work at a time. Play. Play is all about joy. If you observe children at play, we are talking more about finger painting with mud than about championship saucer here. You will see the type of play we are talking you will see the type of play we are talking about. Play is any activity that brings you joy when you do it. It can certainly include organized activity or competition or productive endeavors, but when those things are done for the joy of it, they are play. When an activity is done to win, to advance, to achieve, even if it's fun to do so, it's not play. It may be a wonderful thing, but it's still not play. The question here is what brings you joy purely in the doing? Love. We all know what love is, and we all know when we have it and when we don't. Love does make the world go round, and when it's lacking, our world can feel like it's not moving us much. We don't attempt to define love. You know what you think on that anyway. And we have no formulas for finding your one true love. There are lots of other books about that. But we do know that you have to pay attention to it. Love comes to us in a wide range of types, from affection to community to eroticism, and from a huge array of sources, from parents to friends to colleagues to lovers. But they all share that people thing, that sense of connection. Who are the people in your life, and how is love flowing to and from you and others? So, how's it going? There is no appraisal or judgment we or anyone can make of your life in these four areas. We have all needed a remodel in at least one of these areas of life. The idea is to pick what to design first and be curious about how you might design this particular area of your life. Awareness and curiosity are the design mindsets you need to begin building your way forward. The exercise below is going to help you figure out where you are and what design problem you'd like to tackle. You can't know where you are going until you know where you are. Really? You can't. Do the exercise. That's why the sign says you are here. The health, work, play, or love, health, work, play, health, work, play, love dashboard. The way to take stock of your current situation, the you are here for you, is to focus on what we call the health, work, play, love dashboard. Think of this like the gauges on your car's dashboard. Gauges tell you something about the state of your car. Do you have enough gas to complete your journey? Is there oil in the engine to help it run smoothly? Is it running hot and about to blow? Similarly, the HWPL dashboard will tell you something about the four things that provide energy and focus for your journey and keep your life running smoothly. Dysfunctional belief: I should already know where I'm going. Reframe: you can't know where you're going until you know where you are. We are going to ask you to access your state of health and the ways you work, play, and love. Health is at the base of our diagram because, well, when you are not healthy, nothing else in your life works very well. Work, play, and love are built on top of health and represent three areas we think it's important to pay attention to. We want to stress that there is no perfect balance of these areas. We all have different mixes of health, work, play, and love in our lives at different times. A young single person fresh from college might have an abundance of physical health, lots of play and work, but no meaningful love relationship yet. A young couple with children are going to play a lot, but in a different way from when they were single or when they didn't have children. And as we age, health becomes a bigger concern. There will be an appropriate mix for you and you will have a sense of it at whatever stage of life you are in. Dashboard. So this is the dashboard. Are we okay to stop and do this exercise? We can do that if we want. Okay, I'll just read this part and then we can do it if you want. Are we okay? Would we like to?
I think we'll proceed reading at least the next part.
Yeah, yeah. Where were we? We're going.
Yeah,
Dysfunction
dashboard.
belief. I should really already know where I'm going. Reframe. You can't know where you're going until you know where you are. We are going to ask you to access your state of health and the ways you work, play, and love. Health is at the base of our diagram because, well, when you're not healthy, nothing else in your life works very well. Work, play, and love are built on top of health and represent three areas we think it's important to pay attention to. We want to stress that there is no perfect balance of these areas. We all have different mixes of health, work, play, and love in our lives at different times. A young single person fresh from college might have an abundance of physical. Acha, we read this, right? Okay, sorry. I'll just shall I read it again or shall I proceed further?
I think you can just continue. Yeah, and once you
Okay.
are done, you tell me, I'll continue after that.
Okay, okay, no problem. We are all have different mixed college. We might have an abundance of physical health, lots of play and work, but no meaningful love relationship yet. A young couple with children are going to play a lot, but in a different way from when they were single or when they didn't have children. And as we age, health becomes a bigger concern. There will be an appropriate mix for you, and you will have a sense of it at whatever stage of life you are in. So this is the dashboard. So I'll finish this dashboard part, Manisalvi, and then you take up. Is it okay?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think then they are asking us to gauge it basically. So we'll
Yes,
just do it
yes,
together. Like we'll just
yes,
gauge
yes.
it. Then maybe so how it's really going from there you can read. So yeah. Just a moment. Uh, Here we are. When you think about health, we suggest you think about more than just a good checkup at the doctor's. A well designed life is supported by a healthy body, an engaged mind, and often, though not always, some form of spiritual practice. By spiritual, we don't necessarily mean religious. We call spiritual any practice that is based on a belief in something bigger than ourselves. Again, there is no objective perfect balance of these different areas of health, just a subjective personal sense that either I have enough or something is missing. Even though perfect balance is not our goal, a look at this diagram can sometimes warn us that something is not right. Like an emergency light on your car's dashboard, the diagram may serve as an indicator that it's time to pull over and figure out what's wrong. As an example, an entrepreneur who we know named Fred, took a look at his dashboard and noticed that he had almost no entries in the health and play categories. His dashboard looked like this. So his work is on three, play is just one, love is full, and health is very little. Fred's dashboard. Fred had been careful to make time for his wife and family. Startups can be tough on relationships, so he felt good about his love gauge. He was willing to give up most of his playtime because he was all in on his startup. So the lack of balance there was okay with him. However, the assessment helped him realize that he had gone too far, especially when it came to his health, which was a red light on his dashboard. To be a successful high performance entrepreneur, particularly under the extreme stress of a startup, I can't afford to get sick. I need to manage my health even more now that I am in a startup. Fred made some changes. He hired a personal trainer, started working out 3 times a week, and committed to listening to one audiobook a week on a challenging intellectual or spiritual subject during his commute. He reported more efficiency at work and a much higher job and life satisfaction with his new mix. Debbie, a product manager at Apple who recently stopped working to raise her twin boys, was surprised to find her dashboard reassuring. I thought that since I wasn't working anymore, I had lost my work identity. I realized that if I popularly valued the work I was doing for the household and my kids, then I was actually working more now than before. And I'm taking good enough care of my body and my mind to make sure that I get to enjoy my quality time with the twins. This dashboard validates my choice to stop working for money while my kids are little. Okay, so Debbie's dashboard is like work is almost three times, play is same, love is more than that, and health is on two. So there are Fred's and Debbie's stories. Let's get started with your dashboard. Okay, so yeah. So I think this part we are supposed to create our dashboard. So do I read it and we do it together, or how do we go about it? Or do we just read first and then do it, or we want to do it on our own? I think facilitating it would be good, so that it's a very small exercise. So we can right away get it done here itself in 5 minutes. That will be a good this thing.
Yeah, Mansi, as
Yes.
we read, people can note it down, right? Now, see, we'll read this health coach, and then people can note it. Basis that we can give 1 minute or 2 minutes for that.
Yeah, that is a good idea. Yeah. If everyone is willing to do that, but is everyone willing to do that right now? Suman has put an yes. What about Anjali and Milind, Samina? Yes?
Yeah, we'll do it. At least we can draw 1 or 2 minutes is enough. Yeah, we'll do
Yeah, yeah. 1 minute will be more than enough, I think. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. So, you want to read this, Mani Salvi? How you want to go about it, or do you want to take the next part?
I can read it, no problem.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll read it now. Your health coach. As we said, healthy healthy to us means being well in more than just your body. You might want to take into account your mind and spirit too. The relative importance of each area is entirely up to you. Make a quick assessment of your health and then fill in your gauge. Are you a quarter full or half or three quarters or really full? Bill has also filled in the gauges for his dashboard as an example for reference. How you rate your health will factor significantly into how you access the quality of your life and what you might want to redesign going forward. So we'll take a moment and then, okay, or I'll read Bill's example also so that we
Yeah,
can
yeah,
make a note.
yeah. I was about to tell you.
Yeah, I'm in good general health, had a good physical recently. I have slightly elevated cholesterol. I should lose 15 pounds to be at my ideal weight. I am not exercising. I am out of shape and I am frequently winded if I have to run for the train. I read and write about my philosophy of life, work, and love. I read the latest research on the mind and the mind body connection, but I am losing my memory faster than I think I should. I say an affirmation every morning, and this has completely changed my outlook on life. I have been in an intentional men's group ever since my son was born 21 years ago, and these men have been my guides and companions on my spiritual journeys. I rate my health as half full. So, basis this example, we can one rate it and we can put a bit of text there, at least earmarking what are the key points. Say for mental health, what are you doing? For your physical health, what is being done? And maybe from a social connect point, how are you enriching yourself? And maybe from a nature's point, how are you connecting back to nature? So this points came to my mind when I read this. Maybe you can have your own parameter as it is completely subjective. So we'll take 1 minute and we'll resume back at 2:46 then with the next.
No, I think let's give one minute. That's enough. You just have to mark it, right? A little bit. Some
Yeah,
deep
but we'll have to just mark the parameters like what in the health section the bill has put. Okay, we'll move on. Any doubts, anything that anybody would like to share? Or can we move with the work gauge?
Yeah, I think we can. We are not sharing right now, right?
Right. We can
Okay.
do it if
We can
people wish to
complete them
share.
all and then we can open up for discussion. Yeah,
Your
yeah.
work
Okay.
gauge. Make a list of all the ways you work and then gauge your working life as a whole. We are assuming that there are things on your list that you are getting paid to do. This will include your 9 to 5 job and your second job if the first isn't enough, and any consulting or advising you do, etc. If you are a regular volunteer in any organization, figure that in too. If you are a homemaker like Debbie, make sure you remember that raising children, providing home cooked meals for your family, taking care of your aging parents, and doing housework are all forms of work. Now, Bill's example: I work at Stanford and do some private consulting. I teach Designing Your Life workshops. I'm on the board of the VOZ, a socially responsible startup, non compensated. Right? So basically, what is paid for, what is not paid for, voluntary, and third is anything you do for your home or personal thing, which extends like for housewife especially, or even for people who are working but they have to spend some time and effort at home. So the point is work. Work is the word that we have to consider. So where you are spending your time and effort during the day. So we'll take 1 more minute for that and then we'll resume.
Yeah, and your work need not be restricted to your work that you're paid for, as it mentioned before. So
Yeah.
it could be if you're in any social
Like a
activity
voluntary or a yeah, got
or houseworks and everything also count in it.
Okay, we'll move on to the next one now.
Yeah.
Your play gauge. Play is about activity that brings joy just for the pure sake of doing of it. It can include organized activity or productive endeavors, but only if they are done for fun and not merit. We contend that all lives need some play and that making sure there is some play in our day is a critical life design step. Make a quick list of how you play and then fill in your gauge. Are you a quarter full or half or three quarters or really full? So, play, what Bill says is, I play by cooking meals for friends and throwing big outdoor parties. But that's kind of it. By the way, Bill considered this to be a red light as on his dashboard. So even a quarter is not full for him. So you can see what activities you can term as play and which is with the full only intention of merrymaking or just for fun and no serious thing that this is what you want out of it or this is what you will gain purely for fun. Take another maybe a minute on that. We'll move on.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Your love gauge. I think this is the most important. Yeah. We do think that love makes the world go round around, and when we don't have any, our world isn't as bright and alive as it could be. We also know that we have to pay attention to love and that it arrives in a wide range of forms. Our primary relationship is where we go first to for love, and children typically come next. And then it's a flood of people and pets and community and anything else that is an object of affection. And it is as critical to feel loved by others as it is to love. It has to go both ways. Where is the love flowing in your life from you and from others? Make a list and then fill in your gauge. Bill's example. Love shows up in a lot of places in my life. I love my wife, my children, my parents, my brothers, and my sister. And I receive love back from all of them in their own ways. I love great art, painting especially, and it moves me like nothing else. I love music in all its forms. It can make me happy and can make me cry. I love the great spaces in the world, man made or in nature, that take my breath away. A look at Bill's dashboard highlights the lack of play and some issues with physical health. These red lights are indication of areas that Bill may need to attend to. So, as far as love is concerned, he has covered relationship, he has covered interest, which generate the feeling of love, and he is also talking about some kind of locations where he visits and feels that kind of love that arises. So maybe you can have your own decision, definition, but as of now, maybe you can talk about people, things you love, and pets or anything which you feel that you share love with. Yeah, and then we can take a moment for this and then continue. We'll move on.
Yeah. I'll just check how much is there for
Yeah,
this
two
chapter.
more pages and one summary. Yeah, try stuff kind of.
Okay, great.
So
So
we
we'll
can
finish
cover
this.
that. Yeah,
This is Bill's dashboard.
yeah. So work is full. Play is just not even a quarter, half of a quarter. Love is three of three out of four, and health is again two. So he wants to focus more health on play, I guess. Yeah. Now, so how is it really going? Knowing the current status of your health or work, play, love dashboard gives you a framework and some data about yourself all in one place. Only you know what's good enough or not good enough right now. After a few more chapters and few more tools and ideas, you may want to come back to this assessment and check the dashboard one more time to see if anything has changed. Since life design is an iterative process of prototypes and experimentation, there are lots of on ramps and off ramps along the way. If you are beginning to think like a designer, you will recognize that life is never done, work is never done, play is never done, love and health are never done. We are only done designing our lives when we die. Until then, we are involved in a constant iteration of the next big thing, life as we know it. So the question remains, are you happy right now with where your gorgeous stand in each of these four areas? Have you looked at them honestly? Are there areas that need action? Have you perhaps come up against one of your wicked problems? That is possible. Even this early in the process, if you think you have, make sure to check first for a gravity problem. Ask yourself if your problem is actionable. Also, look for some expression of balance and proportionality in your dashboard. Very important for design. Without imagining that there is some perfect symmetry or balance between all the areas in your life, it is unlikely that health, work, play, and love will divide neatly into four equal parts. But when life is really out of balance, there can be a problem. Bill noticed that his play gauge was way too low. How's yours? Is your play gauge at a quarter and your work at full or more? What about love? What about your health? How is your mental health and your spirit? We are guessing you are already starting to get a feel for the areas in your life in need of some design or innovation. As you begin to think like a designer, remember one important thing. It's impossible to predict the future, and the corollary to that thought is once you design something, it changes the future that is possible. Wrap your mind around that. Designing something changes the future that is possible. So, although it is not possible to know your future or figure out a great life design before you begin, at least you have a good idea of your starting point. Now it's time to get you pointed in the right direction for the journey ahead. For that, you will need a compass. Try stuff. So, this is a summary basically of this chapter Health, Work, Play Dashboard. Write a few sentences about how it's going in each of the four areas. Mark where you are 0 to full on each page. Ask yourself if there's a design problem you would like to tackle in any of these areas. Now ask yourself if your problem is a gravity problem. So if it's a gravity problem, acceptance is the only way and you have to work around. Yeah. So the ideal is the dashboard is work, play, love, and health is full. Yeah.
So
So
we're basically supposed to, we can actually give a little time and work on this on our own also, like deep diving into what we already tried today.
yeah, yeah. So this comes to the close of the first chapter, and will building your compass is the next one, which we might indulge tomorrow. Yeah. So we'll stop the reading today now here, and we can reflect back on what we read so far. What were the key 3 points which we want to take away from here, and if there is any aha moment from the activity that we did, and if you are willing to share, please go ahead. Yeah.
Yes, through this chapter, we are learning basically to shift our perspective. Whenever some problem is there, we have to think whether it is the gravity problem or the design problem. If gravity problem, then just we have to accept it. And if design problem, then we have to take action. This is my takeaway from today's read. Yes.
Yes, yes, that was a big thing. Yes. And what what was on, yeah, Milanji, please.
Quick addition. So I'm just attending my office meeting. Okay, very quick one is problems are events. That is takeaway for me. Do not treat that problems are there always. Okay, so those are events. Those are there to pass away. So yeah, thank you.
Anyone else would like to add?
Yeah, may I go ahead?
Yeah, please.
Yeah,
See, what I understood with this dashboard, that before designing, we have to go through all the parameters, what are like we need to design before designing our life. We have to understand all the things which are really important for us. We cannot ignore either one of that. Either it is health, work, play, or love. All are important. And once we know where we are, that is how the chapter was. It started with that thing that we should know where we are, with what all resources we have, with what all where we at what point of junction we are. This is kind of a roadmap or the destination. It could be decided when we know where we are standing right now. So once we know our own self, once we know what is really required to work for, then we can decide how to design and what to pursue exactly. If we are full in our health, we have to shift our focus to something else. And if we are full in the work, then we have to shift our focus to the play or the love life. So these are the things which really make a life complete. With the We cannot ignore any one part. So that is something really inspiring or really interesting to note, that first we need to understand that these are the four major arenas we have to really keep a check before designing or before pursuing or deciding a goal. That's all.
yeah, true. Basically, we have to, it's basically like we get our markers right, and when we know, like it's like sometimes it can be a breakthrough that which area needs, like for example, play is some, I feel play is not an area that many of us do consider,
Yes,
right?
for
Like
me
sometimes
also, Mansi, yeah, play was the least, it was the one which needed most of the attention, a red light for me
Yeah,
on the
same
dashboard.
here.
Yeah,
it
so
is something we never consider, right? Like we don't
yes.
consider like it's like the happiness factor, the joy factor. And one thing that I also liked about today's this thing reading, the Debbie's example, where it was her realization that because she was not working in a job, she considered that that maybe her work identity will be very less. But actually, when she considered work from a very holistic perspective, it did not she actually realized that she was even in fact doing more. So I feel even that was for me at times, like when I had done this workshop with them, I realized like I was quite full on my work, and I felt very happy about it, in fact, because I when we consider work for the time and contribution that we do, rather than just the money or the paid jobs that we do, I think it makes a lot of difference, and even in terms of satisfaction. So all this dashboard is more on satisfaction as such, right? Like where you fulfilled, right? All the 4 quarters, like when you are actually full. So that is something which struck with me also, and I liked it. Yeah. Anything? Anyone else? Amina, Manisali, you would want to share na something?
Mm. One more thing I want to add, Mansi, work does not mean only the work which we are getting paid for. So
Yes, yes, you mentioned that.
yeah, and that was very important to note, because many times we think that if we are earning well, we are working well, or if we are not, so we need to work on something, how to grow, either go on the social media or this and that, all those thoughts come up. But work means total work, how much time we are spending in a day on all these four categories. That is to be understood.
Yes, and I think that happens very naturally, because I feel that's how the world is conditioned to believe. And that's how we have been projected all the time, right? Like work is only the ones who go to work are working. Others are not working is what is considered, unless now it's work from home. that has quite brought a little bit of balance. Otherwise, that's how the mindset generally was. So I think that has a lot of influence on us, because of which we don't consider our other work as such. Yeah.
Yeah, anyone else would like to share? Samina?
Samina, I think she's on silent. Maybe later. You can add Maniselvi whatever you want to add.
Yeah. So today's, yeah, the feedbacks that you all have given the book as such. So what is striking me for me is we all may be reflecting. We might be actually thinking in a way. We might be trying to solve problems. But the key issue here is I think we do it in a very generic way, in the way that we look at problems more from how other people look at problems, how other people look for solutions for those problems, how other people term it as work, and how other people categorize it as at love, or other people categorize at a play. So we all have very generic definitions of things in our lives. So I think this activity is whole to bring the subjectivity of life into focus, and also give a structure to our reflections, how we should be reflecting, how we have to identify what is a problem can be something which cannot be changed, so there has to be an acceptance to it. And what are the key four areas which you have to balance in life so that you have a very satisfied life. So this is my key takeaway today. And basically there the example of Debbie, that she assumed that work is, she is putting the effort and time, she is not categorizing it as work. How the little child Dave was thinking that the teacher made it interesting, so biology is his favorite. So we somewhere are getting deviated by the way we are thinking. So we have to be more aware, how are we interpreting things and defining it. So this is my key takeaway. As others were also saying, plays a part where I am not very focused, or some it's a area where I have to improve on. And yes, health is something which has become a priority nowadays, but still I feel there is something we can do. Second thing that is coming out is they are saying that this dashboard is for this moment, in this phase of your life, at this specific moment of time. But we have to have understand that this will keep on changing over the phases of your life, over different times, and as per the need of the hour, the way things will fluctuate over. So change is there, and you have to learn the skill of identifying problems, of handling, and have a better way of thinking. So that is what is my again key takeaway today. Yeah. So anyone would like to add here?
No, no. I think today's reading was more of very direct, like it was very self-explanatory in itself also, and it was more of like where it actually, as an exercise, it made us think. So I feel we should actually just sit back. Today it was we just gave like 1 or 2 minutes. We should actually sit back with ourselves for like in the rest of the day sometime, and just give it a thought and try that last part of the chapter that they had given now, so where he's explained like you think on these grounds. So I think we should really do that as an exercise, because that will help us uh, like when we go further in these chapters, and all the tools that they're introducing later on, like that will be really helpful if we are very clear about uh, where we need to work on it as such. So if we are very clear about our dashboard, I think that will really help us
Yes,
into
and they
understanding the
say,
further chapters.
yeah, to second that, they say, the author is saying if you are a design thinker, then you are a doer, right? And, so implementing it, doing it, and actually going through the process is key.
Yeah.
I think this dashboard should be a part of our daily journaling. Before sleeping now, we should keep a check how much time we had devoted to what. And that will also keep us aligned with our daily.
What I love about this book and this whole system that they have created is like when we do live designing in like I have done it from two coaches. So in that where we have a complete wheel of life, which is like 8 9 areas. So it's sometimes it becomes a little difficult to remember all of them and understand ourselves. But this is very simple, so it's very easy to remember and very easy to even think through also. Maybe as Anjali said, maybe even if not every day also, we can actually at least have a weekly or a monthly check of did we really work on that area, whichever we wanted to, like as per our dashboard, or is our dashboard really progressing? So it's very interesting that way. So yeah, I think we are done. Are we calling it a day? Manisalvi, how are we going?
Yeah, that's,
Samina,
I
you
think,
want to speak something? Samina is mostly silent most of the time, is what I've seen. Yes?
yeah, okay, fine. We'll conclude
Yeah, we'll
for
call it
today.
a day.
Yeah,
Yeah. I'll just take, sorry, I forgot to take notes. I'll just take notes. Just don't close the room.
yeah.
I'll take notes and then we
And
can.
other than whatever you have shared in the call today, that will form the summary. If you want to add something, and you can share it in the group also, so that people are encouraged to try this book out and actually start doing it parallelly, maybe if they are not able to join this call. Yeah. So thank you, everyone.
I was just thinking of this, Manisalvi. Like, should we just share the last page screenshot on the? I'll just do that. Like, but I just wanted to check with you and all
Yeah,
of us. Like, shall
it's
we do
good
that?
to do that so that
Because one
people
thought
at
I
least.
had that others who have not read it may not understand it. So that was my concern. Do we want to share it, or should we just keep it to this group?
No, we can share it, I suppose, because if they are more keen to understand, they can go into details through the book. But at least we can share that this is something important. So
So
just
I'll
to
just
give
do
them,
that. I'll share the
yeah,
screenshot along with the summaries today.
yeah, yes, yes,
I'll do that. Yeah,
yeah. So we'll
no
stop
problem.
the recording, and yeah, thank you, everyone.
Okay,
Are we
thank you,
are we
Manisalvi.